I've run a video production company for the last 10 years. And as I continuously evolve and I kind of segue out of running just a production company and do more branding and coaching, I thought it would be a great idea to really sit down and discuss what would I do if I had to start this whole journey over from scratch. So, on today's video, we're going to talk about that. What are some of the mistakes that I made, and what are the things that I would prioritize and the things that I would do if I had to do this whole journey over again, which I definitely wouldn't want to. So, that's what this video is about, and let's get into it. So yesterday I actually spoke at a conference in Norfolk. It's real easy, which was hosted by my girl Angie Winfield, and we talked a lot about becoming. We talked a lot about being who you are and being who you want to be. And so, with doing that, like I said, it just got me to thinking about my whole journey over the last 10 years. I hit 10 years in June 22nd to be exact. That was the day I actually quit my job. And so, I really just want to discuss if I had to start this journey all over again, what would I do differently? Um, and so, of course, I have my handy dandy questions up here, but what's the first thing you fixed knowing everything you know now that took you way too long to figure out the first time? The first thing I would fix, or the first thing that I would really prioritize, is knowing who am I and knowing who or knowing what do I want to do. That's the thing that I spent way too much time not knowing. And in not knowing, that allowed me to make way too many mistakes that I shouldn't have made. So when I started my career, I wanted to do everything. I did websites, I did graphics, I did social media management, I did photos, I did videos. I did all of that to try to make some money because there was a lot of bills. I had a lot of bills, a lot, way too many bills. Um, so I was just doing everything I can to try to bring in some money. And once I really realized what is it that I want to do, then things definitely took off from there. But it took me a while to get to that point. Maybe let's say 5 or 6 years of not knowing what I wanted to do. I had a podcast. I've had a couple of different podcasts. I've had a couple of different video series. I've had a lot of things that I I was doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing, to be honest with you. So the first thing that I would do, which is definitely the important thing, and the first thing I tell anybody to do, is really get a grasp on who you are and know what exactly it is that you want to do. Because once you know what it is that you want to do, then first of all, you're going to cut off 80% of the things that you were doing. Like if I knew that I want to have a branding agency, a branding content agency, then I wouldn't be doing photos. I wouldn't have been doing websites. I knew that I wouldn't want to do social media management. So I wouldn't be doing events. There would be a lot of things. I wouldn't do weddings, to be quite honest with you. There'd just be a lot of things that I would have stayed away from. And on the flip side of that, knowing who you are is super important because once you know who you are and really know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, then you won't be doing a lot of things that don't fit who you are and what you're trying to be. So that would be the first thing that I would tell anybody. That would be the first thing that I would tell anybody is to know exactly who you are and know what is that you're looking to do. Once you figure those things out, it makes everything else going forward a lot more easy. If you had zero clients and zero followers tomorrow, what's the first move you actually make? That's a that's a great question. If I had zero clients and zero followers tomorrow, the first move that I would make is take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. The first move that I would make is build a portfolio. I would do a whole bunch of work. Not even a whole bunch of work. I would do a whole bunch of passion projects. Whatever projects that I would have in mind, I would just film it. If it is a story of my parents, I would do that. If it is telling my wife's story, I would do that. If it is creating ads for companies of things I have, this case, I would do a video on a camera case. The reason I would suggest doing that is because you need a portfolio. You can't go anywhere without a portfolio. So if you are creating content around, if you are actually creating your own ads, your own commercials, your own stories, then you can do it exactly how you want to do it. And so sooner or later, probably sooner rather than later, somebody's actually going to reach out to you and say, "Hey, I saw how you did, you know, um, the video on that chapstick. Can you do something like that for a brand I have?" Crazy. Now that I think about the chapstick, I have this pack of chapstick because I did a commercial for it for chapstick brand Palmer's probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Um, where I was like, you know what, I want to do more ads, and so I bought 3 or 4 things from this particular brand, and I made my style of commercial around it. Pretty simple, pretty simple. Um, and then one of the brands that I actually did, my wife bought some shoes. This was during COVID. My wife bought some shoes. They were, from this online shoe boutique, and I did a very basic video around it, and that got me clientele. So the first thing I would do is start to build out your portfolio of the things that you actually want to do and the things that you actually want to be known for. And if it's probably even better if nobody actually pays you, because now you could do the work exactly how you want to do it and be known for doing that style of work, as opposed to doing content or doing work that a client will want you to do. So that'll be my first thing. Would you still spend time on skills first or go straight to positioning and packages this time? I I would definitely focus on skills first. You need to be good. You're going to always continuously grow and evolve, but you need to understand the basics. So first thing I would do, like I said before, is really just go on YouTube, figure out how to use your camera, figure out how to do a cinematic image, figure out exactly how to shoot, really understand those basics before you start to worry about, your own personal content, before your own positioning. You need to be able to do the work that you want to do seamless first. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the greatest thing ever, but you need to know how to use your camera. You need to know how to create a cinematic image with a camera, because as soon as you start to put yourself out there, people are going to reach out to you. And you don't want to waste somebody's money or mess up a shoot just because you didn't know what you were doing. So focus on getting good with cameras or getting good at your craft before you actually worried about positioning and branding and marketing. Um, what would you refuse to do this time around that you actually did the first time? It would be the thing that I would actually refuse to do that I did a lot of the first time around is, of course, I wouldn't do events. I wouldn't do. Actually, let me stop for a second. The reason I say I hate doing events is because when you do events, people look at you as the help. People say they don't, but they do. They look at you to help because you're actually just standing around trying to capture moments, and that's not really my vibe. I want to be known as a specialist and not just a generalist. So one of the reasons why I stopped doing events is because you can't really create a system around the work that you do, because every event is different. Um, and it's nothing that you can pre-plan. You really just show up, film, and leave. And I'd rather be known as a specialist that can actually help make something happen than just waiting around and trying to document something and then need to make it into something that 9 times out of 10 that it's not. But so what would I refuse to do the first time? Of course, events. Of course, it would be all the different offshoots of services that I had. I wouldn't do the I say that and I'm thinking to myself, like, would I still do weddings? Because weddings have been very lucrative for me. But if I really had to start over and if I was really clear on the work that I want to do, I wouldn't do weddings. I wouldn't do weddings. I wouldn't do weddings because even though they are lucrative, um, I feel like that time I spent on shooting weddings and editing weddings, that I could have actually put that back into the work that I really wanted to do. Um, So yeah, I would definitely stop doing weddings. I wouldn't do the websites. I wouldn't do the social media management. I wouldn't do the photo work. I would really just kind of hone in on the work that I actually wanted to do. Um, so yeah. How long do you think it would take you to get back to where you are now, starting from scratch? And so where I'm at now is I make between 10 to 15,000 a month in my business, and so to get back to that point now will probably take a couple of years. I don't think it would take, the 10 years, but I think if you focus on creating your own projects and then you focus on building out your own brand, and then one key thing that I didn't mention that I feel like you should is have a support team of creatives where either you have people that you just collaborate with all the time or people that you can actually bring out to your shoots to help you, or people who can just edit your content for you or whatever the case may be. Um, so yeah, I would go from doing spec projects to building out your personal brand to getting help from other creatives to then scale up from there, on and on and on. So if I did all of that, then I feel like it would probably take me about 3 to 4 years of really grinding out. And it might not even take that long, to be quite honest with you. But some things you only learn just by doing it. So you just have to do a lot of it. So, so yeah, for me, if I had to start this whole journey over from scratch, and if I wanted to get back to where I'm at today, my process would be I would build out a portfolio that was all spec projects that I wanted to do. Then I would actually build out my own personal brand, which would be to show behind the scenes of the work that I do, um, show my face in certain videos. I would talk about things I learned. I would document. Matter of fact, this is what I would do if I was building out my personal brand. I would document the work that I actually do, which kind of similar to the daily vlogs that I do now. But I would just do that on a very consistent basis. That'll be pretty much all the content that I'll put out is either behind the scenes content or me just documenting every project that I work on every day that I'm actually working. That's what I will actually put out. From there, it'll be super important to, like I said before, build out a community of people you can collaborate with. When I was actually working and starting out, at first I didn't have anybody that I could actually lean on. Matter of fact, I'll take that back. I will take that back. I'm talking blasphemy at this point. It seemed like every year I would find somebody who kind of gravitated to me, or I gravitated towards them, and then I would learn a little something. It's from my man Corey that helped me out when I was doing photos, to all the guys at Viz Inc., to my crew of Patrick, Josiah, Long, Cap, to actually Cap working with me pretty much like, hand in hand, to my guy Tony. Um, you need a community because there's going to be a lot of things that you just don't know. And so having cats around you that can teach you, who might be a little bit further than you, who can be like, hey, this is what you should do here, or this is how you should do this, or if you're trying to build out this business, this is how you should do your contracts, or whatever the case may be. So you need people that are up maybe a little bit further ahead of you in some aspect, and that you can actually learn from them. And then from there, I would really just kind of go all in on just really building out the business, and really just kind of set up my contracts, set up my packages, and really just go all in, because then you have everything that you need to really scale from there. So those are probably the things that I would definitely do if I needed to make the same amount of money the fastest, is really just focus on those particular things. Um, what's one relationship or connection you prioritize building early that you didn't have the first time? One relationship that I would prioritize would be, like I said, I said the community, but even to go deeper than that, it'll be two answers. The relationship that I prioritize would be a right hand man, who's somebody who wants to grow, who's on the same level, or right there with you as far as skill wise. Um, who you can actually learn a lot from. For me, that was my guy Cap, or Nate Brown. He don't really like to go by Cap now, but for years, me and him rocked out, and we shot a whole bunch of projects. We shot a whole bunch of weddings, and so like either I had a project or he had a project, and we was there just kind of hand in hand, kind of making sure that we had everything we need to really rock out. And during that season is probably where I learned the most of running the business, building connections. And really making what I do a business instead of just a hobby. Because when you have other people working with you or working for you, then you have to kind of have certain things in place. So that would be the first thing that I would definitely recommend, is have like a right hand that you can kind of have along with you. And then the second would be definitely an editor. I got an editor in the last year, and it's definitely changed the way my business operates, because I'm not doing a whole bunch of editing. Like, I had a shoot on Friday, and my editor hit me up today and said all the videos are done, and I haven't even been home. So that's something that I would definitely recommend, is get an editor. I got my editor overseas, and let me show you the way to actually get an editor, because this is going to be a video by itself. The way to get an editor is do a video saying that you need an editor. Simple as that. Do a video on Instagram saying, "Hey, I'm looking for an editor. I have all these projects and I need help." Somebody's going to reach out to you and say, "Hey, I saw you had a video where you say you need an editor. I can be your editor." Cool. Simple as that. Simple as that. And the key to an editor is a couple of keys to getting the right editor. First, you want to give them a test project. Pay them $30 or what have you. See if they can edit a video for you that's in your style, and see how close they are to getting it to how you need it to be done. The second thing is, you don't want the editor starting off. The editor isn't going to get it 100% there. So all you need is for the editor to get it 80% there. But also make your process simple, so if it's easy for them to do. And so when I first started out, I had an editor, and I was trying to get them to get the video 100% exactly how I like it. And they never did. And they never did. And that caused a lot of problems. It caused a lot of revisions. But when I told my editor now that, hey, I just needed 70, 80% there. And so once he actually gets it to that particular point, you send me the project file, and then I can finish it up and get it exactly how I want to. So those would be the two people that I would definitely recommend for who the people you need to connect with, is to get a right hand, but also get an editor. Um, and so, yeah, during my journey, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've partnered up with people when I didn't need a partner, but I felt like I needed a partner. I spent years doing services that I didn't want to do. But yeah, things really started to take off for me when I realized who I am and what is it that I want to do, and then allowed me to kind of disregard all the things that I don't want to do but shouldn't be doing as well. Um, so yeah, hopefully that gives a little bit of insight. Hopefully that kind of helps the creators who are, starting out and trying to figure out what's their next moves. Um, but yeah, let's get into some rapid fire questions. I feel like people like these little rapid fire questions. Um, First one is: would you still take on random jobs early on, or niche down immediately? I would definitely say niche down immediately. Figure out exactly what you want to do and shoot that. Like I said, if you want to, there's a guy that actually works at the car dealership that I take my car to, and he does car content. Instead of trying to do all this other stuff, you can build a name by actually doing the work that you want to do. Being a creative, being a videographer is a lot. It's draining. It's taxing. So instead of trying to do a whole bunch of random jobs that's just going to take you away from your passion, the thing that's really going to bring you some money, just focus on the things that you actually want to do and only do that. And only do that. Because you can either be a generalist or a specialist. A specialist is going to make more money every single time. So focus on doing that and focus on being that. Two, what's one piece of gear or investment you skipped completely this time? Whew, the one piece of gear that I skip completely. Hmm, the one piece of gear I skip completely. Buying all the cheap equipment. Um, when I first started, I bought cheap lights. I bought cheap little tube lights. I bought cheap mics. I bought cheap lenses. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing is stop buying cheap. Get some good equipment, because once I bought good equipment, then I stopped buying a whole bunch of cheap stuff, and I stopped having to um, update my equipment every 6 months to a year. Like I've had roughly the same gear for the last 7, 8 years. 7, 8 years. Yeah, like the camera that I'm shooting on right now, I've had this before COVID. I've had this since 2017, 18. And then my camera body that I mostly use, I've had that since 2021, 22 maybe. And like the lights and stuff I've had those for years as well. So once you stop buying the cheap stuff, then you can buy stuff that's going to last you, and that's where you can really scale your business up. And what's the one thing you got right the first time that you wouldn't change no matter what? Uh, the one thing that I got right the first time is really focus on building out a brand. Like I did that probably within my first year of going solo or going full time, is that I focused on building out a brand. Because and I focused on that. The reason why that was so important is because everything came from me doing that. Everything, that's how I got clientele. That's how I met, built connections. That is how I got some of my biggest projects. It's all about having a personal brand. Around that time, nobody was putting themselves in front of the camera. If you did camera work, then you just stayed behind the camera. So me put myself in front of the camera, showing the work that I was doing, showing the behind the scenes, showing how I broke down projects, all got me work because nobody was doing it. And even to this day, there's a lot of people who still don't do it right. So if you do that, put yourself out there, you're going to find people that connect with you, find people who want to work with you. And that is when business is really take off. So that's probably the thing that would not change. That's the thing that I will continuously do day in and day out until kingdom comes, till Jesus comes. I'll be continuously doing that. So yeah, that's it for this episode. This is something I really wanted to do, because I feel like it's very important to really allow people to have the information so you guys can kind of skip the line, especially the videographers out there, you photographers out there. If you do any type of creative work, focus on the work that you want to do and not focus on all the things that people will say that they pay you for, because all that's doing is from the work that you should be doing. So This is Rashad. I'm 40, and I want you to get further than I did, faster than I did. And so I want to help you do that. And so that is the end of this video. Peace out, y'all.